Welcome back to WION World is One. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Heem Kaur Suraya and here's what we've lined up for you on Speed News today. Palestinian militant group Hamas has signaled its rejection of Israel's latest truce proposal and called for a comprehensive deal to end the 18-month-long war. In a televised statement, Hamas chief negotiator said the group was ready to negotiate a deal to swap all hostages for an agreed number of Palestinians jailed by Israel. As part of a broader deal to end the war in the enclave, he accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of using partial agreements as a cover for his political agenda and made it clear that Hamas will not be complicit in this policy. Calling for a comprehensive deal, Hamas sought a single package prisoner exchange in return for halting the war, a withdrawal of the Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip, and the commencement of reconstruction in the territory. US military struck a fuel port in western Yemen as it continued to pound targets related to Houthi rebels. Houthi-affiliated media claim that at least 38 people were killed in the attack. The Al Masira TV shared footage of what appeared to be the aftermath of the strike. US Central Command released a statement claiming the destruction of the Ras Isa fuel port. In a post on social media, it said that its forces took action to eliminate the source of fuel for Iran-backed group, adding that the aim was to hit the Houthis economically and harm the people of Yemen. The strikes are the latest in continued attack against the rebels. Earlier, videos from the US Central Command show the decks of aircraft carriers lit up day and night, with jets being launched in relentless waves. Now, Donald Trump has said that he is not in a rush to take military action against Iran, but the US president did not confirm a report that he had blocked an Israeli plan to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. The New York Times had reported that Trump waved off the planned Israeli strike in favor of negotiating a deal with Iran to limit its nuclear program. Trump's partial confirmation of the Times report came as Iran appeared for a second round of talks with the United States on Saturday. Oman, which is mediating the talks, has confirmed that the discussions would take place in Rome. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated that Israel would not allow Iran to acquire nuclear weapons. In a statement issued by his office, Netanyahu touted his countless actions against Iran's nuclear program, but did not deny that Trump had blocked a planned strike. In an attempt to boost domestic shipbuilding industry and to curb Chinese dominance in the region, the United States has unveiled new port fee on Chinese-built and operated ships. The move comes as the United States and China are locked in a major trade war over US President Trump's tariff policy. Under the new rule, per tonnage or per container fee will apply to each Chinese-linked ship's US voyage. The fee will be assessed only up to 5 times a year, but the fee can be waived off if the owner places an order for an American-built vessel. The US shipbuilding industry has gradually declined and now accounts for just 1% of global output. The sector is dominated by Asia, with China building nearly half of all ships launched ahead of South Korea and Japan. The US Supreme Court will hear arguments over President Donald Trump's move to end birthright citizenship. On the 15th of May, Trump issued an executive order on his first day in office seeking to limit the birthright citizenship for children whose parents are in the United States illegally or on temporary visas. However, this order was blocked by the lower courts. Trump later appealed the case to Supreme Court on the 3rd of March. The legal battle centers on the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause, which declares that all persons born or neutralized in the United States are citizens. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth called on France to boost military spending and strain transatlantic relations over President Donald Trump's commitment to NATO. This is French Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu was in Washington for talks on a variety of issues including Iran and the conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. The visit came amid tensions between Washington and its European partners over Trump's trade war and his remarks on multiple occasions implying a softening of support for Kyiv in its war with Russia. At least 2 people were killed and 4 other injured after a student opened fire at Florida State University in the United States. According to the police, the shooter is the son of a local deputy sheriff. He was shot and injured by local law enforcement. Police believe the gunman, identified as Phoenix Eichner, acted alone and a motive was not known. The suspect had access to his mother's handgun, which was once her service weapon. The campus was locked down as gunfire erupted, with students ordered to shelter in place as first responders swarmed the site. Bystander footage aired by CNN appeared to show a young man walking on a lawn and shooting at people who were trying to get away. Police said that the people who died were not students but refused to give further details.
Holy shit. Oh my gosh. You guys okay?
We're good.
Oh my gosh. What the hell? Holy shit.
Ivory Coast's main opposition party has formally announced the name of its leader, Thiam, as its candidate for the presidential election in October. The 62-year-old is the only contender for the centre-right Democrat Party. Thiam obtained 99.5% of the votes at a party convention, with the turnout at 93%. According to provisional results, Thiam, who is currently outside of Ivory Coast, had to fend off a row over his nationality, with opponents saying his past French citizenship disqualified him from the contest. Indonesia has said that it would boost oil and gas imports from the United States as part of a deal to ease stiff tariffs threatened by Washington, adding that talks will be completed with 60 days. Indonesia's chief economic minister, Erlangga Hartarto, has made the comments after meeting with U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He further added that Indonesia promised it would help American companies operating in Indonesia with easier permits and incentives. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani said earlier this month that Indonesia would adjust import taxes on some commodities from 2.5% to 0.5%, including mobile phones and laptops. Pakistan Foreign Secretary Amna Baloch met with Bangladesh's interim head Mohammad Yunus at the beginning of a 2-day visit of the country. Baloch is visiting Bangladesh for talks at a foreign secretary level, the first in 15 years. Before this meeting, foreign ministry officials from Bangladesh's interim government and Pakistan held talks in Dhaka as the two South Asian Muslim majority nations attempted to ease strained relations. After the talks, Bangladesh's Foreign Secretary Jashimuddin said Dhaka raised historically unsettled issues with Pakistan, including a formal public apology for atrocities allegedly committed by Pakistani troops in 1971 during Bangladesh's War of Independence. Harpreet Singh alias Happy Pasya, wanted by India's National Investigation Agency, has been arrested in the United States by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Economic Regulatory Organization. He has been continuously carrying out grenade attacks on the police establishments of Punjab and took responsibility for them on social media. The NIA has a bounty of ₹5 lakhs. According to media reports, Harpreet Singh carried out the terror attacks with the help of Babbar Khalsa International and Pakistan's intelligence agency ISI. Harpreet Singh, a resident of the Pasya village, moved to the UK in October 2020 for a few months before illegally moving to the United States through the Mexico border in 2021. US President Donald Trump, under an executive order, has allowed commercial fishing in a gigantic marine reserve home to one of the world's most vulnerable ecosystems in the middle of the Pacific. In the order, Trump has said that the prohibition of fishing in the area affects honest commercial fishermen of the United States. He added that the fishermen had to go offshore in international waters to compete against poorly regulated and highly subsidized foreign fleets due to the ban. The Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument was created in 2009 and covers almost 1.3 million square kilometers. Commercial fishing and resource extraction activities such as undersea mining have been banned until now, although traditional and sport fishing was still allowed. In a landmark decision, US district judges ruled that Google unlawfully monopolized key segments of the online advertising technology market. This verdict marks a significant setback for the tech giant in an antitrust case brought by the US Department of Justice. For over a decade, Google has locked publishers and advertisers into its ad tech ecosystem, wielding its publisher ad server and ad exchange as twin weapons to crush competition and dictate terms. The ruling opens the door for prosecutors to seek structural remedies, including the potential breakup of Google's advertising business. The DOJ previously suggested that Google should divest part of its ad tech operations, such as Google Ad Manager. Google has argued that DOJ's case focuses on outdated practices and ignores competition from other tech companies like Amazon and Comcast. The company maintains that its tools serve legitimate business purposes and benefit consumers as well. Now, Chinese scientists at Fudan University have created a hard drive which has the capacity to rewire data in 400 picoseconds. 1 picosecond is 1 trillionth of a second, and according to an article on the university's website, it is the world's fastest semiconductor storage facility to date, achieving equal storage and computation needs. The article further says once scaled up for mass integration, it is expected to completely disrupt the current storage architecture. Oil prices rose more than 3% on Thursday after the United States imposed new sanctions to curb Iranian oil exports, elevating supply concerns. Both benchmarks booked their first weekly rise in gaining about 5%. The new sanctions on Iranian exports and hawkish comments on the issue from the US Treasury are increasing supply concerns and helping support crude, adding to supply concerns. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries said that it had received updated plans for Iraq, Kazakhstan and other countries to make further output cuts to compensate for pumping above quotas. Gold prices eased in the final hours of Thursday after a sharp rise in the previous session as investors booked profits ahead of a long weekend. Although softer dollar and escalating US-China trade tensions kept bullion above the $3,300 per ounce level, the dollar index recovered but was still heading for a weekly fall. A weaker greenback makes gold less expensive for holders of other currencies. Spot silver fell 0.9% to $32.46 an ounce. Platinum slipped 1% to $957.18 and palladium dipped 2.3% to $949.72. Netflix executives backed the company's revenue outlook for the year and voiced confidence that the streaming service would weather any economic turbulence from President Donald Trump's erratic tariff plans. Following an earnings report that topped analysts' expectations, Netflix said it had not seen any significant shifts in customer behavior. That is likely to ease Wall Street concerns that Trump's policies would prompt lately frugal consumers to reconsider spending on streaming services. With more than 300 million global customers, Netflix has continued to sign up subscribers in markets around the world as consumers flock to its low-priced ad-supported tier since its launch in late 2022. Apple's shipments of smartphones in China slumped 9% in the first quarter from a year prior, and it was only major manufacturer to see a decline, according to data from research firm IDC. Apple, which ranks 5th in China's smartphone market, saw shipments fall to 9.8 million phones, giving it a market share of 13.7%, down from 17.4% in the previous quarter. By contrast, market leader Xiaomi saw its shipments surge 40% to 13.3 million, while industry-wide shipments grew 3.3%. IDC analyst Will Wong said Apple's premium pricing structure has prevented the US company from capitalizing on new government subsidies introduced in January, which fueled growth in the first quarter. The government subsidies for smartphones and some other consumer electronics refund consumers 15% of products with a sticker price under $820.